Scrubs don't mean I am an employee, by user Buckets. I work in ophthalmology with diabetics, glaucoma, cataracts, injuries, all sorts of fun patients. I genuinely love what I do and I'm really good at it. We wear scrubs and one day after work I went to the grocery store and some lady was talking loudly. I'm an unsociable idiot most days in the wild, so I just kept doing my thing. She then almost runs me over with her cart asking about stomach medication from the pharmacy. I told her I don't work here, sorry I wasn't ignoring you, blah blah. And she called me a liar and demanded that I help. I told her I know eyes but not anything about anything else and went to go finish what I was doing. She started screaming about how I was a horrible person and super unhelpful. Luckily some mom was watching and told the lady she clearly doesn't work here. You're at name of place and she's in scrubs. Poor lady still didn't get it, but I basically booked it around the corner and snuck away when she turned to argue with the mom. In my purely professional opinion, of course, by user real Sailor Jim. This was a few decades ago and happened at the Wally World in Jasper, TX. Say all yet. It's a pretty short story, but I thought y'all might get a laugh out of it. A little background first, I was working part-time as an optician at the Wally World Vision Center. My job was selling eyeglasses and fitting them to faces. I'm not sure why, but we were required to wear white lab coats while working. As were the pharmacy staff, and the guys working at the photo center, now that I think of it, but that doesn't matter to the story. Anyway, I was dressed in my white lab coat and I had clocked out for the day. My wife had asked me to pick up eggs on the way home, so I was standing in a checkout line, a carton of eggs in my hand, waiting my turn behind an obviously drunk pair of ladies. One of them points me out to the other, who walks up to me and demands to know what would I call this thing on her chest. She then pulls her elastic tube top out about a foot and points at her totally exposed left breast. Being a nice guy, I take a moment to study the matter and then reply, well, it's just my opinion of course, but I'd say it's a nipple. She stares at me while her girlfriend cracks up and says, no, asshole, the rash. What is it and what should I put on it? I explained that I'm neither a pharmacist nor a pharmacy technician and that I worked in the vision center. She just stared at me, blurrily, and then put her boobs away and started yelling for a manager and cops. I didn't get into any trouble, of course, but the privilege of listening to her try to explain to a policeman as to how I sexually assaulted her by not stopping her from exposing herself in public would have made it worthwhile either way. Sexist Popcorn, by user solid_armadillo 9575. My baby, his godmom and I were in the rice section at Walmart, sorry if company names aren't supposed to be used. When we got to the end of the aisle there were two grown men waiting, one was slightly younger. Once we came close enough to them the older one said, do you know where the popcorn is? I looked at him and was just like, idk? Dude, I'm not even wearing blue. The younger one was like, they don't work even here, come on, while the older one proceeded to say, well, they're women, women shop, women know where all the things are. Sir. There are literally signs above each aisle that'll happily tell you where what you're looking for is. Honestly, at that moment I wish I had something smart to say, but I was just so baffled. Edit. Normally this wouldn't have been a big deal for me if he hadn't had said the thing about women. The tone in his voice was screaming misogynist. And even after we told him we didn't know, he still stood there in front of us like we were supposed to drop everything we were doing to go on a popcorn run. Edit 2. A lot of people seem upsetty about my spelling for one word. I was trying to remember what happened to make this post. Also, if you're that bothered by one misspelled word, it man. For some of you who could relate or took this in a good manner, thanks. I'll be off this post for now, lol. Helping the OK Department of Public Safety, by user last_at_5439. This happened this morning. I am a 69-year-old white male that spent 15 years in federal service, 10 in Congress as appropriations staff. So I understand bureaucracy. Here is a hilarious thing that should give all of you a good laugh. I am married to a wonderful Chinese woman. I am repeatedly told I overmarried. She and I were standing in line this morning at the OK DMV office to get her learner's permit to drive. Get up at 5 a.m. and still have 70 people ahead of us. We are waiting for them to text us to tell us to come back. As we were in line, the young man from Afghanistan and his sponsor were behind us. The DPS lady tells him no more driving tests today. He has his permit. She tells him he cannot get on a list tomorrow and appointments are 2 months out. I tell him, give me your cell and I will send you a text of where you can go get tested right away, with an appointment. Understand, we were next to go in. The DMV woman is very angry. She asks if I am with our department. I tell her no twice. Thus the I don't work here lady. I love this sub. She says, wait here, pouting face. I tell the sponsor, you had better give me your number before she prevents me from giving it to you. He did. I sent your contact card from my phone. I told him the driver's school where my wife went charges a fee to do the driver's test, but it is a whole lot better than what you are experiencing right now. So the lady comes back with her supervisor. I have seen him many times. This man is telling this man that he can go get his driving test somewhere else. The supervisor looks a little annoyed. Where did you send them? Name of big family-owned driving school in OKC. The supervisor says, that is legitimate as long as they do not mind paying a fee. He looked at her annoyed and went in. Magically she reopened our door. That had nearly drained the queues for appointments inside, so we got our wait number and my wife is at work, waiting for the text. I told the man, tell them OP sent you. No, I do not get a commission. My 15 years with the government taught me the joy of bypassing bureaucracy. Hilarious. The woman tried to get me in trouble for helping you and helping them reduce their workload since they are overworked. I am literally a kid, by user bitches hole. On mobile and English is not even my third language, so I apologize if there are any spelling mistakes. This happened during my last year in elementary, 5th grade I think in the US. As usual, the last few weeks we basically play games, do outdoor activities, and during this specific day we spent the day in a forest maybe 1 or 2 hours from our city. We were supposed to be back at 4 p.m. to be met by our parents at 4:30 p.m. but because of traffic or something like that we ended up being late for an hour or an hour and a half. The bus stopped us about 1:00 am from the school gate and we saw all of our parents waiting for us, but we still had to go inside our class to grab our school bag. I was one of the last kid to get off the bus, so one of the last to go in the school, and an entitled mother started ranting to me that it was unacceptable to be so late, that she had places to be blah blah blah. I tried to stop her to tell her I was a student myself, but she kept talking and talking for like 1 or 2 minutes until she was like, well, what do you have to say? And I had finally the opportunity to tell her I was literally a kid from her child class and that I have to go get my bag from the class. For her defense, I have always been a big child, and even at 11 years old I was already 5'5/5'6", but unfortunately I didn't grow much since then. I remember her dumb face when I told her and left. It's a nice anecdote to tell friends for them to believe me when I say I looked much older. It was in 2007/2008 and my mother had no choice but to buy me adult clothing, so it didn't help and I very much looked like a grown-ass woman. Even nowadays when I see my class photo it make me smirk because all the kids are sitting on benches and I am standing next to the teacher. Edit, deleted a bunch of comments because I didn't reply to the right person, not used to Reddit app yet.